guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday, guys. Wanted to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Friday, guys. Got a quick word for you guys. Really quickly though, I wanted to say thank you thank you to those of you who've been emailing me in regards to being willing to help me out with this iPhone. Listen, I ain't got time. Seriously, I ain't got time. I'm a simple girl. I know I don't look that way, but seriously, I'm a very, very simple girl. With that being said, with these iPhones, you need 25 degrees just to get off the main screen. I ain't got time. So I'm turning it back in. I tried it, which is just not me in the sense of I don't try things just because, right, everybody else has one. I truly wanted to finally try it for myself. It didn't work. It's not working. I'm going back to Android, point blank period. Say what you want to say. Judge your cousins, not me. All right. So really quickly, guys, I got a word I want to share, and that is be very, very careful that, and many people have already done this, and this is why God is pruning you back down to your core. One trick that the enemy will use is he will constantly make you feel that you are not, make you feel, it's all in your mind. He will make you feel that you are not enough, that you're not worthy of certain promises, that you can't handle certain things, etc., etc. And so what happened is you will start going and changing yourself. You're changing yourself from your authentic place. God needs you to move in your authenticity. Your authenticity is what people is going to gravitate towards. But the enemy will have you thinking you need to do this, you need to buy this, you need to get this. So if you think about it, there's probably, and this is not for everybody, of course, but if you think about it, there are things that you probably bought along the way because you just feel like you can't take that step, you can't jump until you have this. I can't leave until I get this. I have to get this. So all that stuff have already accumulated. Time has passed, and where have any of that stuff got you? Nowhere. So now God is back pruning things and pruning you back to your core. The things that you pull in due season are going to be things that you attract from your authentic self. Remember, God is using you as a vessel, so it's not that you can do something, right? We can't do anything without God. So the mindset has to be that whatever God is calling you to, you're going to be able to do it through God's strength, through the grace of God, not yourself. So when you're trying to change yourself, when you're trying to look like somebody else, when you're trying to say, well, I'm not going to take that step. I'm not going to relocate, even though God told me to, until I lose 70 pounds. I'm not going to do this, right? So it's all these physical things and all these tangible things that you're thinking that you need to complete, or you need to buy, or you need to add before you take the step, before God opens the door. Let me tell you something. Some doors have already opened for some people, but some of these doors are so close to opening that God is pruning your heads off. And it's like, it's crazy because there are certain things that God will start convicting you to do, and you don't even realize that that's an area that he's pruning. You're just being obedient, but then you're like, wow, this is another pruning. For example, this Apple is going back, but one thing I cannot lie and deny is, first of all, the picture quality is insane. It took me 12 hours just to take my first picture. But the picture quality is insane. Oh my goodness, right? But when he did my transfer, from when they send all your data from one phone to the next, I couldn't understand why he needed my phone for 2 hours. 2 hours to transfer. And so with that being said, I had 7,500 pictures, and I mean countless more than that, more than the photos was text messages. Oh my goodness gracious. So even though he was transferring it from an Android to an iPhone, which the iPhone should have been able to hold more because of the storage capacity, he still couldn't do it. He could not do it. And so I had to literally leave and just take my phone and go and delete. I'm talking about massive amounts of messages and photos. And if I'm honest, I didn't even know that they were still on my phone, because that stuff, I don't even know where they hide it, right? It says 7,000. I can only probably see a few hundreds. So the more and more I'm deleting these photos, the more and more photos are coming out of, and I'm like, where is, I don't even remember half of these things. And that's the whole point. We truly don't understand how the things that we are holding on to, we really think it's just things. Like, oh, it's just things. It's not. That stuff is really clouding us in the spiritual realm, right? Anytime God starts to bring certain blessings, He have to have a pathway that's clear. Another thing that some of you guys will start to notice, definitely on my end. Listen, things are drying up left to right, and I'm speaking about in the sense of things that you used to love to do, whatever your hobbies were. Well, you still may love your hobbies, but certain little things that you would do, places you would go, things like that. And it's like you used to once really enjoy these things, right? And so it went from you enjoying them to damp. Now it's damp, right? So you were still mixing and mingling because you had some dampness going on. Now it's going from damp to completely dry. God is clearing things up and drying things up and pruning things up. I'm talking about left to right. Every time you turn your head, something is you're being convicted to prune something, someone, someplace. If that is you, please be obedient to your convictions, because it's easy to feel like, well, okay, the place is dry, I don't like it anymore, but I'm just going to still go. No, He's drying it up for a reason, right? He's drying it up for a reason. Pastor Blix has been speaking the last couple of days about distractions and how certain times truly calls for tunnel vision. And I believe that's one of these seasons where I'm seriously, anything that is not part of the promise, God is pruning and convicting you to leave it alone. So whatever God is bringing into if this is you, whatever God is bringing into your life is huge. Because with other things, you can still be distracted a little bit. I'm not saying distraction is good, but it is not to this magnitude where He is pruning things almost to like a spirit of excellence, meaning everything, 100% of whatever it is, it has to be related somehow to the promise. If it doesn't make sense to the promise, you ain't got time. That's what it feels like. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because that is something I got on the nature trail earlier today. Do not change who you are. You are already enough. The enemy is lying to you. You have enough money. You are beautiful enough. You are handsome enough. You can handle it, even though you've never. God will give, as long as you stay connected spiritually. When you get there, you'll be okay. If you unplug, you're going to fumble. But the enemy is trying to get you to see this thing in your eyes, like you can handle it, right? You need to be more beautiful. You need to be more thick. You need to be more slim. You need to be more this, right? All that nonsense, right? And maybe you don't feel like you have enough money right now. I'm just throwing this out here for somebody. But what you got to understand is that this is something that God needs you to do. So if God needs you to do it, wherever He's sending you, He has to supply it. So you may not have it today, but trust and believe when you get there, provisions will be made. You will have everything you need. But the enemy is very strategic. So he'll have you running around in circles. You're buying all this stuff. You're taking all these courses. You're taking all this other stuff. And you're getting all this stuff because you just feel like you have to be a certain way before you move. You are exactly who God needs you to be. If you change yourself, the promise cannot find you, because you're not you. You need to be your authentic self. You need to walk into your truth. Walk in your truth. Walk in your truth with confidence. You are enough. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.